It's the 1878 Casuals. This is your host, Sinatra. Our video got jacked up yesterday, so we're back again today with English Jason, Hollywood Patch Moore, the maddest of faces, Casey Gale, and back from many ways, the Bandito, LA's top one. All right, boys. Yes. So our first topic is we had a little bit of news coming out about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He had mentioned that he's interested in the team. He's a lifelong Manchester United fan, but from his words, the team is owned by the Glazers, who are very nice gentlemen, but the team isn't for sale, and he ain't waiting around. So what do we think about that? I'm going to go to Patchy first on that one. What are we thinking, Patchy?
A little bit what we talked about last night. I think Jim Ratcliffe is a savvy businessman, and that's kind of all there is to it. So it's probably a little bit of mind games going on his part, where he's pretty much kind of subtextually telling the Glazers, hey, this door ain't going to stay open forever. I'm probably one of your best shots in the world to cash out if you ever want to do so. So get to step in or do something. So I hope it's legit, but you know, I mean, like his interest and his willingness to at least give it a go, to try to continue to play maybe some mind games with him, see if they'll sell up.
What are the thoughts over in Manny, Bandito? Were any of the fans chatting about Ratcliffe while you were over there?
Yeah, a little bit. Trying to think what people were saying. You know, Ineos as an organization is involved in sports and have had some success in sports sponsorship and cycling, and obviously in Formula One, and then a football club in France. I watched the interview as well, and with Jim Ratcliffe with the Financial Times. It was on their website, so it was kind of a slew of questions, and then they talked about Chelsea, his bid for Chelsea. Obviously, he was kind of late in the game. Was that just to say, hey, I'm here and I'm willing to take up a ownership? And then he spoke like a fan when asked about United. He was there late in May, in 1999. He was at that match, and he spoke about that and his love for United. And then, like Patrick was saying, the Glazers are lovely people, but they're the owners, and Manchester United is not for sale. And he can't. Like you said, he can't wait around just hoping that they come up for sale. So is that a bit of gamesmanship? Is this the time? There's going to come a time where the Glazers figure that the best way to make the most money out of Manchester United is to sell and not wait for the depreciation to go down. And I don't think it's there yet, but it's going that direction. And so this, there's also other groups that are interested in Manchester United, just like there were when Abramovich was forced to sell Chelsea because he's a Russian oligarch. And so he's positioning himself well, but he's not saying like, hey, this is something that has to happen now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, right?
Now I'm going to go to English Jason. So I think you were saying before or off camera with the consortium, you think that's the way to go, right? It can't be just one owner. We need, with the kind of money we're talking, I think they quoted what, 10 billion. There's not a lot of people that can come in with 10 billion, right?
Well, regardless of whether he can do it or not, I mean, he's like the second richest guy in England and 55 in the world. He's not going to do it on his own. He's a businessman. And, he's not about to come out and talk smack about the Glazers, no matter what he thinks of them, because it's business. And at the end of the day, it's exactly the same as the transfer market. Who knows if Manchester United's for sale? Who knows if it's not for sale? Who knows what the Glazers are going to do? Who knows what Jim Ratcliffe is going to do? Okay. It's all going to be kept stum. At the end of the day, we'll see what happens. I hope he does, I don't see the Glazers getting rid of it, Man United right now. I really don't. But you never know. But as for his comments about nice guys and this, that, and the other, it's just business. It's just chit chat. He's just playing the game. You know, his personal opinions not going to come into it. It's a business transaction for him and a chat, even though he's a fan. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, he's not going to slag off the Glazers in public, any, or is he going to be associated with the whole Glazers out movement? So what do we think, Face? Are the Glazers ever going to sell off ever?
Well, what was that $9 million about today? $9 billion today.
10 billion.
10. It was
What
10
was that
billion
about?
or whatever. I think that's their valuation. They've come out. That's what they
So do
want.
you think that they might have told him that price? He told him to go fuck off.
I would have.
Possible. Yeah.
I would have, because that's an astronomical. Are we building a space shuttle? I mean, what's going on? $9 billion?
Yeah, we could
team's
have
not
Old
for sale,
Trafford on the
man.
moon, right? Old Trafford on the moon.
Maybe that's what he means by the team's not for sale, because that's the highest number I've ever heard for anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's-
Chelsea
that's-
went for what?
4.5 almost
Billion?
billion, 4.5 billion, something like that.
Oh, well, then if you compare it to Chelsea, yeah, we're worth about $9 billion, man.
But Chelsea's at least won something recently. Like, you know, they
Yeah,
won the
I
Champions
was
League.
taking. I was fucking around. That's a high number. They can't be serious.
Don't forget, Chelsea was a forced sale too. He didn't have time to
Yeah.
hold out for anything more.
I think $9 billion is maybe plays a part of it. You know, maybe he had a conversation with them and they were like, "Oh, we'll do it for $9 billion." He was like, "Oh, 9.
Right.
I'll call you guys back." Because I just can't see anything, no negotiating starting when someone says $9 billion for one team, and then you got to fix the stadium on top of that. That's a $13 billion project, or no, that's like a $10 billion project. I mean, they're keeping us hostage now. Now they're keeping us hostage in my mind.
But do we
They're
think
gonna
with
gut us as much
Ratcliffe?
money.
But do we think with him keeping this out there in the media like that, does this put pressure on the Glazers though? Like no one else has aired their shit out in public like this before.
I like that every time the Glazers do something, the media reports it, because it wasn't like that before. And I like that now, because the media is now really taking notice that they're a piece of shit. So I think it's not going to be too long until they give it up under pressure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it puts pressure on them. They're already getting pressure from the fans, the match-going fans, every week, home and away. I'm seeing Glazers out banners in the stands every fucking match, and it was not like that before. So now it's like they're taking the shit worldwide, and now that's trickling into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans too. And so, like, I've seen a couple of videos of stuff like that, fans going "fuck the Glazers" pretty much. So I think they're starting to kind of be squeezed from all sides now.
All right, so now we're moving on. I wanted to talk about Wagwan with Sancho. I know that I said probably at the beginning of our first video that Sancho was my pick to be player of the season, and now he's kind of fallen off a little bit. And I know throughout the season, players have their, ebbs and flows in form, but he went from like scoring all of our goals and being the man the first couple of games to all of a sudden falling off. What do we think about that? I'm going to go to Face first with this one.
I think it's tough for Sancho, but it's healthy for the team because I feel like Rashford fits what Ten Hag wants to do a little bit more. He wants his tackles, creating space, putting pressure on a defender. Sancho's very skilled and talented, but there's no fear of him blowing past you. So as a defender, I would be like, I'm just going to keep him in front of me, and that's what Sancho wants to do. He wants to bring people towards him and create more. Let's do some triangles. Versus Rashi's like, I'm going to stretch you out. But it is what it is. Sancho had a bad last game because he gave the ball to Malacia. Turnover, they go. But I think what pisses Ten Hag off is Sancho didn't run back on defense after he gave him a bad pass. He didn't run back. People blew past him. Fred ran past him. Everybody went past him, and he didn't. And I think that's the one thing with Ten Hag's like, I'm okay benching you for a little bit, you know. But Sancho, it's okay. I think it's good for the team. You know, now he's gonna work hard and come back like Shaw did. So that's how I feel. I think it's okay. You know, some guys are not on playing well, and right now Rashford is. He is, and
So,
Tony's not moving. The other guy's not going nowhere.
so English, Sancho was an Ollie buy. Is this a player that Ten Hag would have purchased if he wasn't already in the team?
I don't think so. Not for the money. But it's like Kay says, it's all about form. He was playing well at the beginning of the season. Now he's not. My only concern is Martial, his bloody injuries. We got to keep Sancho for that. But he's Rashford's outplaying him right now. So if you're not performing, then the gaffer's gonna bench you, and that's where it should be. You got to inspire these guys. They've got to be inspired to play. You got to put 110% effort in. And if you're not cutting it, you're not cutting it. It's that simple.
He was primarily on the right wing before Anthony came in, and then we shut him out on the left wing. Mikey, what do you think? Where do you think's his best position? Is he better on the left or is he better on the right, Sancho?
He's pretty good at both, but I think on the left wing, he's kind of more effective. I think he was out on the right because you had Rashford there, and Rashford isn't as effective out on there. So, like the boys are saying, it's a drop in form, which is always temporary, right? One thing about Sancho is he doesn't have this 40-50 yard breakaway pace that a lot of Premier League wingers have, right? Obviously that Rashford has. His game is having the ball at his feet and running at defenders and in close spaces. So some of these games don't go to his skill set. And in the City match, he was not tracking back at all. Ten Hag system, the partnership out on the wings, they have to stay connected, and then there's an underlap that has to happen, and that just wasn't happening for whatever reason. So yeah, like when there's a drop in form, bring in the player that can get the job done. Sancho's going to be okay. I mean, he's going to come back into form, and he's going to find his feet again and find his form again. I'm really sure of that. There's enough games to go on. So, at the end of last season, he was one of the players that actually had a fair season last year, right? And he spent most of his best games out on that left wing.
How do you see it, Patchy? Is Sancho a player with a future at United, or are we going to be looking for wingers again come the summertime?
I mean, I think we should still look for a winger, whether or not Sancho leaves. But I also think that Sancho, there's still a player in there, and he went from, I mean, really his first 6 months his second half of his first year at United, he was playing under Ragnick. The first half he was playing under Ollie. So it's like, unless I've got that wrong, I think.
No, you're Sancho, right on that. Yeah, you're right on that.
Okay. So he's been playing two different styles, and now he's playing a third one in less than a year under three different managers in less than a year. So it's like, I think, he's shown some moments. I mean, he sat Milner on his ass when we played Liverpool. That was a beautiful goal with some trickery. Like, we've seen it. I feel like we've seen it time and time again of Sancho showing his quality, but it's just sort of like light, just kind of creeping through the cracks. There isn't no full blown bust through yet. And so I think there's still a player there that's going to come good. I think once he starts, and again, they haven't been with Ten Hag for that long. So it's like, it's going to take a little bit. And so I think if he can get a good run of games in and he can stay injury free, that we're going to, remember why we were interested in him in the first place. I hope that's what happens because I like the kid, but yeah, I mean, I have also heard some things about him not tracking back that much. Maybe he could do a little more defensively, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think we can all agree we haven't seen the best out of Sancho, but hopefully he can come good. All right, so the next one, my next question, first for you, Patchy. So in our last video, when we were reviewing the end of the Everton match, you were talking with our boy from Salford, or Carl from Salford, and he was saying he doesn't think that Casemiro can even play in the Premier League. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I think he can. I mean, shout out to Carl. You know what I mean? But I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I mean, I think Casemiro could play in the Premier League. I mean, he's no spring chicken. He's 31, but he's also not super old. There's still some years left in there, and accompany that with his footballing knowledge and brain. I mean, the man's won the lot. That buys you a couple extra years. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't necessarily have to be, all you got to do. I always saw him as sort of maybe like the potential replacement for Carrick in a way. He can play those through balls. He can get stuck in. He's long. He's strong, and he can, that can be his contribution. But again, I think it'll just take time. I just think he needs to acclimate. I mean, he was playing in Spain for the last, however many years. And now, he's trying to get used to the best league in the world, the fastest, most physical league in the world at 31 years old. Like I said, it's not old, but it's not 24. So I think he just needs time.
So, Face, for this next match, who do you go with? Do you go Scott or you do Casemiro against
Scott? I'm going Scott, but I want Casemiro to get some run too. But that's interesting. Let me think. Well, Scotty's not playing on the weekends, so that's going to factor in it. So I don't know. It seems like our coach is into playing his best team possible. It seems like that's his way.
He did come out and say we're going all out for the win, right? We want to win the deal. We want to avoid those 2 extra games. We're gonna go out for the win. We're gonna go all out. He said.
Yeah, so it's gonna be Casemiro.
Is this a game to rest Eriksen? Finally?
Oh, God, I want to. I mean, it's like, are we doing too much with him? I feel like, ooh, how's your chest? How you feel? You okay? You all right?
I know. Yeah, constantly checking in on him. Yeah,
but what about below? Is there? When does he get a rest? When does he get rotation?
Right.
Yeah, and Martinez he's played everything too.
Yeah.
I think Martinez is the one who started every game, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe that reminds me of a quick story about Casemiro. So I'm not trying to be a topper here, but I was at that Everton match, and so we're in the stands, and
we know
Casemiro gives the ball away for the goal, right? Like early on, he gets picked clean, leads 2 passes, they score a goal. The crowd is like, oh, fucking waste of money. Like, oh, he can't play. Like, he's just here for the paycheck. He gives the ball away again about maybe 10 minutes into the match after that. And the crowd is like turning on him like, oh, Casemiro, like, this guy can't play. And then the class starts coming through, these control and recycle and then that winning the ball back and putting that pass to Ronaldo for the match winner, and people are looking around and go, oh, top signing that, yeah, look at that. Oh. World class, that one. So it kind of he's gonna have those bad touches that we've seen as he's getting his fitness back and getting adapted to the speed, but the class is you can still see is there.
How do you find
He's
Casemiro English? Is he one of these guys that is always going to be erratic like that? Like he's going to play a couple bad passes, then he's going to play the class pass, or can we ever find just a 10 out of 10 player?
I don't think he's going to be consistent. I mean, he on paper he's great, but the Premier League is just a different beast. It's like I said yesterday. You people always say Messi, Ronaldo. Messi never played in the Premier League. I'm not saying he hasn't. He's not a fantastic football player, etc., etc. But if he played in the Premier League, it'd be a different story. It's so physical with so many games. It's completely different, and I don't think that he'll be consistent. I think they'll be like Mikey said, he'll turn it on every now and then. Like Pogba, every 17 fucking games. He made a good pass or took a shot. I just don't see it, unfortunately. And I mean, I would definitely start Scotty on tomorrow because he's benched for the weekend. So we'll see. I mean, again, hope for the best. I'm not expecting the fucking worst.
I actually had a direct question to wrap it up on Casemiro for Mikey. What do we think about playing like 2 6s in the midfield, like Scott and Casemiro together, and pushing Eriksen further up the pitch where he can maybe be a little bit more effective? Because it's not like Bruno is, playing all world right now.
You want Eriksen to be more effective?
I want Eriksen.
No,
I'm not saying he's not been effective. I'm saying Eriksen behind the striker. What were you saying, Mikey?
Yeah, I mean that's a possibility. Casemiro and Fred, or Casemiro and McTominay, and then Eriksen playing that kind of false 9 or higher up the pitch. Bruno's another one that's playing every match, right? So it's just a good time to rotate him as well. Yeah, I mean, so much of what we do goes through Eriksen. So when he's not playing, it's kind of tough to have Fred or Casemiro as a deep line playmaker because they're not. And then one of the things that we're going to see is like Everton, they did a 4-5-1, right? So they're just out of possession. They're just everybody back, and that's kind of what we're going to expect from this Thursday night football match. So you kind of need those creative players to unlock things, and we can see Eriksen. He's got the range of passes, and he was actually playing like out on the left wing in part of that Everton match. So yeah, I think it's tough to rotate him out. I think Ten Hag is pretty good at making in-game adjustments, depending on what the opponent is offering.
All right. So the managers announced who's fit and who's not for Thursday's match. So Wan-Bissaka's out, Martial's out, Harry's out again. So what do we think? Yeah, the captain, our beloved captain. But all right, so what do we think about Tony, right? Because he's looked like our best option at striker, but the guy can't ever stay healthy. So I'm gonna go to English first on this one. Did Ollie break him like he's saying, or is this more excuses?
No, I just think he's just excuses. I don't. If you're a world-class football player, if you pick up a knock, you pick up a knock, man. You get on with it. And I think it's just an excuse. He's always pulling up. His back hurts. His back. Yeah. For what? How? And you don't see anything hard going in on him. It's the Pogba syndrome as far as I'm concerned. He's not committed enough. He's just not. And that's the problem with the team right now. There's not enough commitment with all of them. It's wishy-washy. One day it is, one day they're not. And it's when they turn it on, look at them, they're unbeatable. But when they don't, it's a 6-3 shit show.
Yeah.
So Patchy, how do you find Tony? I mean, we saw him back to smiling and looking like he was full of confidence again, but we keep breaking him. What's going on with Tony?
Yeah, well, it's like English said. I don't think he cares enough, and he's too inconsistent. I mean, but then again, he's had a 20-goal season for us, and he's scored some goals. He's played well this season so far when he plays, but it's just like it kind of is like a Pogba syndrome. It's like it's like you get a couple good months out of him, and he's hurt, and he's out for 3 weeks, and then he takes another 2 weeks to get back to form, and then by the time he gets back to form, he's injured again a month later, and you're just like, fucking hell, it's just constantly like this with him. There's no stability, so it's annoying, but I like him. I just wish he was not. I just wish he would kind of get on with it, like English said too.
All right, what about for you, Face? Is there a future for Tony Martial at Manchester United, or is this his last season?
How many players from France are playing well in England right now? In the
For
last 2
us or
years.
period?
Period.
It's a fair point.
You talked about the Pogba syndrome. I agree with that. I don't know. I have my things about players from France, but I'm gonna leave it alone. I want to make it that type of show. But I tell you one thing about Tony Martial, his numbers, his output for what he plays, it's incredible. Oh, he's putting up numbers. If we just get the mother to play, he's actually brilliant. But he's softer than my penis.
Put a beep in there. Actually, I guess I don't have to.
What about
Yeah.
Martial for you, Bandito? What about Martial?
That made no sense.
Disappointing. It's disappointing. We're hoping that this was going to be the year that he is consistent and gets 20 goals. But yeah, the injuries is just taking the form away. You got to remember, this guy he was out the door, right? He had a very poor transfer, and that was kind of like, this is your last chance, bro. Like that's, and then he was doing bits in the preseason, and everyone had high hopes again. So it's disappointing. The season's not over, so hopefully he can come back and have a long period where he's effective.
Like you said, it's a long season. So my next question is, what are our realistic expectations now? I know we were kind of saying, what we thought at the beginning of the season. I said I didn't think we'd win anything. English thought we'd, get a cheeky FA Cup. Where do you see us, Mikey? Do we still have a chance in this Europa League, or do we need to temper our expectations?
We got 3 minutes left, just so you guys know.
We ain't winning jack. Yeah, I don't see us consistently being good enough to win Europa. I'm hoping we get top 4, but there's no trophy for top 4. So, and then going further in the FA Cup, I'd really like to see us do well in that competition, but I don't think we're going to win it.
What about for you, Face? Is there a trophy in our future?
If we get the FA Cup and top 4, I'll be happy. It'd be a greatest season. It'd be a great season. Everything else I don't really care about. But Europa, I would like to win it just to say we're the European champions and throw it at people's faces. We won Bangkok. And just have a whole shitty list like, we won Bangkok, we won the Moo Mia Cup. Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, we need to win the conference league too, right? The Waste Bin Cup. All right, Patchy.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I agree with Face. I think if we win the FA Cup and we get top 4, that's a good season. I mean, we're not out of points reach of the title, but we're not going to win it this season. Let's be real here. As much as ambitious as we want to be, I think we could win it if we play every game like we did against Liverpool or Arsenal, but that's just not attainable right now, it seems like. So yeah, top four and FA Cup, I'm happy with that.
What do we think, English? You still holding out?
Still going on. FA Cup, runners up in the league, and we're going to take to Europa.
Well, that's big.
All
Like
right,
it.
quick
And there's only 3
score
minutes
predictions.
left, and Mikey's got 2.5 of them.
Quick score predictions for me. Go, Mikey.
For what?
3-0, and we bring the
Thursday.
kids on when it's home and dry. Palestri, Garnacho, bring them all on.
Cool.
Love to see that. All right, quickly.
I'd go 3-1 because they're going to be up for the scrap tomorrow because they have to win.
3-1. All right, we're down to a minute, so I guess
4-1.
I'll wrap this up here. So
English says 4-1. All right.
4-1. All right, I like it. All right, so we're the 1878 Casuals. Please like and subscribe. Again, we're brought to you by Terrace Colt USA and Mumu Mia Ice Cream. Definitely get down to their 2 locations, Monrovia and Montrose, and get in line and get there early because it's a line, buddy boy. All right, boys.
Really?
We'll see you for Thursday. Oh, yeah. The ice cream is top drawer. It's top drawer. All right, we'll see you guys next time.